Hi, welcome to this part of my review featuring Fight to Survive. If you haven't seen the other parts of my review featuring this tabletop RPG, where you employ your martial arts to survive the mean streets of New Hope City and build a legacy, please check out the playlist in the description below. This time we are going to talk about resolution by comforts. The comforts of a player character can be employed to resolve conflicts on their behalf. When it comes to people, non-player characters can act on your player character's behalf if there is enough value put into them to be successfully compared against the tiers of challenges. Relationships are reciprocal, of course. Any person that is down as a player character's comfort cares about them just as much by the same value, so it is just as common for a comfort to ask a favor of the player character as it is for a player character to ask a favor of a comfort, and thereby use that comfort as a conflict resolution for challenges. The value of a person is determined on how you would fight for that person or perhaps even die for that person. If a player character strains the relationship by a person, then it will cause a rift with that comfort. This makes sense because the value that you put on a person is the value that can be used to solve a challenge. For instance, to ask a person to do something that is against their values, they may still do it, as long as the challenge is met. But it will cause a rift with that comfort to represent the tension that exists in that relationship from now on. Your player character can employ the value of a place they have listed as a comfort to resolve conflict concerning that location, using the same scale of challenges. The value put into a place also determines the player character's feelings towards it. So for example, maybe the place is a personal investment, or maybe even a local landmark. When it comes to places that are familiar, whatever place you have listed as a comfort, you know it well. You know all the secrets the location has to offer. Unlike most locations in Fight to Survive, if your player character has a place as a comfort, then it is up to you to decide, reasonably, what is there. The Game Master will trump preposterous notions, but generally speaking, your places are your canvas. And of course, if you employ a place in such a way that reasonably jeopardizes its state, the comfort gains a rift. Your player character can also use any of the things that are important to them to resolve conflict against challenges. Anything you list as a comfort under things, so long as it is reasonable to carry on your person. If it is not reasonable for that to be the case, like a piano or a horse, then you get to determine where it is stored. The value put into a thing also determines the player character's feelings towards it. Things are the closest that Fight to Survive gets to a skill mechanic. Having a car means you have the skill to drive it about as well as the value you have in it. Having lockpicks means you know how to use them. Some things can be quite valuable for your fighter. Maybe you only work to preserve such an item, or maybe you value that item above your life. All of this is measured against the challenge to determine your success with the thing that you are using. So for example, you have 3 when it's a fight to keep item. Now when it comes to things as means, Fight to Survive does not have players tracking the dollars and cents in their wallets. Not the least of which because keeping track of currency inflation as the 20th century advances would be cumbersome to play. So one comfort of a thing is singled out as a player character's day job, a representation of their available income, physical resources, and their standing in their profession. And the value of that source of income will also determine what you will be able to purchase later on. Now when it comes to employment, maybe you just work there. Or maybe you have the keys to that place. Perhaps you are a leader in your field. If you employ a thing in a way that puts it in danger, just like the other cases, it will cause a rift with that comfort. That is, your job could be endangered. And when it comes to rifts applied to things, if the thing you have a comfort in is generic in nature rather than specific, a rift is interpreted as the thing being lost or broken and needing to be replaced. One interesting thing is that If the situation dictates that the player character succeeds in their task in a way that the game master indeed communicated all available information, but the matter did not conclude in a way satisfying to the player's intent, the player character gains a +1 to revenge. This is referred to as life is unfair. And this concludes this part of the review. In the next part we are going to talk about moves versus moves. You can assign values to different things, the people, the places, the objects, and you can use those comforts to match against different challenges. But if you strain the relationship too much, if you endanger or risk the object or the place, then there will be a rift in that connection. Or perhaps the object itself is damaged. Or you lose your job. You could end up losing relationships, objects, or jobs. But at the same time, it can make the scenarios quite interesting, add a lot more complexity to the way the scenario is proceeding. As you fight and struggle to preserve that connection, that relationship, or perhaps repair or replace the object, the place, get a new job, etc. Thank you for watching this part of the review, and thank you for your likes and your comments. If you have any questions or comments, please let me know. And thank you so much to those of you that are going the extra mile to support the channel. If anyone else wishes to further support the channel, the information on how to do that will be in the description below. And remember, it is better to roleplay and fail in character than not to roleplay and fail as a player. Once again, thank you, and see you later.